Hi, I'm a random guy on the internet, and today I want to talk about something, and that something is a sudden huge shift in VTuber history. I think if you've seen the title and clicked this video, most likely you already know what am I gonna talk about. But for convenience sake, I probably should talk about the whole thing anyways. So, Uruha Rushia was in a collab back in February 10th, 2022 with Sakura Miko playing GTA 5 online. Then at one point of the stream, on Rushia's stream appears a pop-up message that basically shook everyone, but in a different way. For a while, the EN side of the fandom just took it as if it's just another troller. I remember basically every Holofans I know was just like, just another day in GTA Online, another asshole, and basically move on to other things pretty quickly. However, a couple of days later, things had escalated pretty much in a drastic way. So apparently what really happened was the pop-up message actually was coming from a famous male JP singer, Mufu Mufu. It reads in translation, "I just finished streaming, gonna go home now, Mi-chan." Now, here's the thing. The pop-up message was sent to Uruha Rushia, but in the message, she was referred to as Mi-chan. If the Mi part doesn't give it away, in Japanese culture, when you call someone with slang suffix, like for instance, chan, usually it indicates they have a very close relationship, even to some extent, an intimate one. Now, knowing this, you should be able to guess what happened in the JP side of the fandom in that couple of days. Yes, they absolutely flipped the fuck out. Not only on Rushia's side of the fandom, but also on the male side of the fandom, Mafu Mafu. And as with the nature of anything famous, among the fandoms, some of them are just really hardcore. There was one clip that you can find in the internet where a fan of Mafu Mafu say that they would absolutely end themselves because of this quote-unquote revelation. So yeah, this is pretty hardcore, but we'll come back to that later. On February 14th, 2022, Cover Corp, the company behind Hololive, put out a statement regarding the situation. In short, Cover stood their ground with Rushia, even as far as stating their talent's private life is their own business, which is a huge deal in my very own eyes. Surely you would joke about them being an entertainment company, but at the end of the day, they still refer themselves as idols and still has to do idol stuff like concerts or signing events, etc. So them making a statement like that, basically a step of moving forward from the idol tag they always have. Of course, this is only my own opinion, but regardless, this should be still seen as a welcome change, and I think we should all acknowledge that. Now, before we get to the end of the road here, because the story is in surface level is very short, I would like to say a few words first. I know a lot of people have been making this point, even one of the most prominent names out there like Ludwig or Lost Pause have made video regarding this matter, but I want to say it anyways just to reinforce the idea that parasocial relationship is a no-go. Here's a bit of a sauce for you to make the pill easier to swallow. Ready? Most famous people you've seen online, most likely they already have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner or hell, maybe even a crush. The point is, you should not expect that you can get closer to them, let alone being in a romantic relationship with them. This is not 2012 anymore, where innocence was still a thing in fans and YouTuber relationship. There was a period of time where meeting your fans can be genuinely a bonding experience, and yeah, maybe a chance to get a partner of a lifetime. But unfortunately, the fame, or should I say the clout and money a YouTuber gets nowadays, kind of washed it all away and turning it to be possibly one of the most toxic relationships in human history. So yeah, don't, and I mean don't, expect to get laid with your favorite streamers slash YouTubers slash VTubers. I should add one more point as well. that they also have their own lives to live. And no, do not think you can self-insert yourself into their lives just because you are a tier 3 sub or had donated like $5,000 to their bank account. That's just messed up. The way they see your money and your sub isn't the same way as what you want them to perceive it to be. Think about it like this. The streams are basically, say, a concert, and the platform is the venue. When you donate to them on streams, it's an equivalent of you buying a ticket to see their performance live. Sure, you can put out more money to get the more upfront seat, but not to the point where they'll let you to be their friends. It is the same thing with streaming. There is a barrier between you and the streamer, a fourth wall, if you will. Everything that a streamer do in their streams is basically just a performance. And you giving them money merely just as a gesture of appreciation of the performance performed by the performer. Period. And what about the super chats and the donation message? Same thing. Yeah. There's nothing remotely counted as a personal interactions there. It's just another form of performance. But this time, you are performing the performance. That's the beauty of streaming, in my opinion. To laugh together in real time and not only relying on the performance to do so, thus making it a more engaging content than any other content out there. So once again, do not misunderstood a support as a favor. That's just fucked up in my opinion.
Get on with it.
Also, on another small note, this goes the same way to the streamers slash YouTubers slash VTubers to not fuck your fans. Time and time again, we've shown how much risky it is to date one of your fans, especially if they're minors. Now, actually, I just thought about it, and there's not really much case on top of my head that doesn't involve minors, because all of them are proved to be groomers. But still, as I said before, the relationship between the fan and the streamer slash YouTuber slash VTuber has becoming a more of a cesspool as of late. Like literally, a lot of fans are just a bunch of yes mans or yes people. Or also there are obsessive fans as well, or even a hater that disguises as fans. So yeah, the permutations of how bad fans can be is practically endless. And it's just better to not having it, in my opinion. However, if they keep pressing it on anyways, just keep it in mind and make sure to not regret it. Otherwise, it would end up like the main spotlight of this video. I'm not saying you should develop a paranoia towards your fans. I'm just saying, in a very cautioned manner, do not fuck your fans. Now, there's still one more point I'd like to talk about. A lot of people have been talking about the parasocial relationship, and yes, it is most likely due to the audience who can't control their obsession. But what if I tell you it is not entirely true? What if the content creator also has some role on growing their fans' parasocial relationship? Now, I want to talk about this more for a bit because I deem this as something very important, especially for people who are just interested in making content on YouTube or Twitch, or even for the experienced ones. So I'm pleading you to keep listening to this part a little bit further. However, if you're not interested and just want to keep going with the Rushia story, then you can go past to this timestamp. I honestly have no idea how long this is going to be, but I'll try my best to make it as short and coherent as possible. Anyways, let's take it back for a moment. What is parasocial relationship? In layman's terms, it's an obsession of somebody to someone else to the point they are deluding themselves for being closer than what they actually are. The next question I want to ask is how someone is obsessing over someone else. I believe it revolves one thing: information. What you love, what you like, what you hate, what you eat, where you live, when you sleep, how's your day, what's your look like. Basically, information. Now, a lot of content creators as of late really putting up themselves to be the content because of, well, various of reasons, I suppose. But among all of those reasons, I believe the most prominent one would be, I want to be as authentic as possible to my fans. Now, how noble as that sounds, there is a critical downside of it. That mindset would probably just send your fans down to parasocial relationship spiral even quicker because your content is just about informations of you and mostly you. I'm gonna make an example from a prominent name in podcast scene right now, Trash Taste Podcast, in which PewDiePie can probably put it in a better way than I do.
Joey. But I listen to the Trash Taste, and I feel like I've listened to that more than I've hung out with them, and it makes me feel like I'm like some weird obsessive fan or something.
Parasocial relationship. In interpersonal relationship, to get close to someone else is to get to know them better. You know what they like, you know what they eat, you know how they talk. The more information of them you know, the more closer you'll feel. When you are listening to Trash Taste Podcast, they are non-stop barraging you with information about them. So naturally, you feel like you know them better than your own girlfriend or boyfriend, and thus you'll feel like you are closer to them. But unfortunately, this is the opposite for the Trash Taste hosts, which they would outright say, I don't know you, because there's no feedback channel for them to get to know you, the fans, better individually. Or, well, at least it's not free. I believe that this is also how the idol culture capitalizes their talents and even to some extent, VTuber companies as well. They are feeding their fans a somewhat delusional feeling like they are getting closer to the fans, or hell, even maybe giving them a sliver of hope that they can be their girlfriend or boyfriend. And we've seen it from time to time again, how dangerous one fan can be when they are past that point. So unless you're doing those on purpose, try to avoid using yourself as content. As for those who does it on purpose, well, first of all, salud. Second of all, just be careful and do not blame your fans if that happens, because now you know you have a part for it as well. So you might think, oh, then what to do? Or not, I mean, who cares? But if you do, I believe I know one solution. And this might be a hard to grasp concept, so bear with me here. Find an interest. Now you probably think, the fuck that's supposed to mean? Exactly. Go find something else that interests you. If you have an interest that is not you, people would have less interest in you and more in your comments of said interest. Thus decreased more the parasocial relationship meter amongst your fans. Let's say you have an interest in a video game title. If you don't just play the game, say a few things about it, and that's it, but also expressing anything that you have some kind of enthusiasm with the game, whether it's about your dislike on some parts of the game or even bringing out another game title as a comparison, most likely the audience would not just be focusing on you, but on the game as well. If you have a really surface level of understanding of said video game title, or even has no knowledge at all about it, the audience will likely be less focusing on the video game and even the gameplay, and more onto you. In other words, they would likely to just watch your reactions to the game rather than watching you playing the game. Now you must be thinking, well, Those two are the same, no? Also, isn't that not bad? Now, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think it is not the same. You watch a reaction of somebody doing something, it means you are watching them doing something. Your attention is on them. You expect them to be shocked or laughing or angry. You are paying attention to them, not the activity. That's why VTubers are gaining success nowadays, because of all creators, these VTubers can deliver a more quality reactions. Now, this is a presumption territory because if you couldn't tell from my tone earlier, I'm not enjoying this particular market. But if I can guess on what makes these VTuber clips funny, it would be the reaction of the girls. Meanwhile, the video game or whatever they have in the background is just a tool for them as an excuse to let out that kind of reaction, and thus kicking people further into some obsession because they are seen as adorable, cute, funny, and also horny. But when you watch, but when you're watching your brother playing Final Fantasy VII in his room back in the year 2000, where you were rooting for Tifa or Aerith to get closer with Cloud, when you and your brother made Cloud dated Barrett in Gold Saucer, or when you saw Aerith and sobbing hard with your brother in his room, you're not just watching your brother playing the game. You're watching the game with your brother. That would explain why some people in the chat do have their emotions carried over when they're watching a stream. Because the streamer invested in the game. And it shows. At least that's what I think. Now, probably this is going to be a question that most people would have. Can we fake enthusiasm? And for that, I would say no. Maybe with some knowledge beforehand, you can make it last out for a bit. But unfortunately, streaming isn't like acting in a movie or a theater. By the way, I'm mostly talking about gaming streams and not like an IRL or just chatting stream here because of, this is the type of content that I'm more used to, so please keep that in mind. Gaming is tiring. You would think you can cheat your way out of it just like Sniper Wolf reacting to her unquote TikTok content. But no, people can see how much energy you have for a particular game, or even just by listening to it. People will take notice whether you are having fun with the game or not. Like, you're telling me that these poor souls are in the highest time in their lives. No, they're stuck under a damn stairs. The same thing when you are obviously playing a game title just because it's trending. People will take notice, and instead of getting angry of their streamer obliviousness, they would just turn their brain down to almost 0% and just enjoy the sound of yeah. What I'm actually trying to say this far is that it is better for you to give your fans something to obsess over with you rather than to let your fans obsess on everything you. If you are worried about being fake and all, well, just as I said at the beginning of this point, find an interest, then draw a line from there. But then again, if you do want your fans to obsess with you so they will buy your bathwater or fart jar, then hey, so be it. I mean, no judgment here. Rather, in fact, more respect to you. So, yeah. But if you want to have a more healthy relationship between you and your fans, then I believe this is one of the solutions out there to achieve just that. Yeah, sure, it doesn't remove parasocial relationship fully, but I believe it won't be as intense. Now, before we get to the finale, if you have watched this far, I just want to say thank you so much. It means a lot to me. I know it's been said over and over again by a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers, the exact phrase I just said, but I can't express beyond that as of now. So, yeah. And if you deemed what I said so far do have some weight in the positive side, please like and share the video to people that either new to the content making scenes or even the veterans like Ludwig, XQC, Moist Critical, whatever, just to know what their opinion on this. I know it's not going to be as good to look at or to listen to. I know my arguments here probably has a lot of flaws, but hey, I tried my best here, so yeah. So once again, please share and like the video, and I thank you in advance for doing so. On 24th of February 2022 is one of the mornings where people didn't expect it would get any worse. One of them being a Hololive official tweet regarding termination of their contract with Uruha, Rushia. It states, regarding Uruha Rushia, it has been apparent for some time that she has been distributing false information to third parties and has been leaking information, including communications regarding business matters. With respect to the above, we were able to confirm that she engaged in acts that violated her contract by leaking information that she acquired from the company, as well as communication over SNS, both of which she has a responsibility to protect, and caused company to suffer reputational damage, such as by publicizing falsehoods to various related parties. As a result, we as a company have determined that it has become difficult to continue managing and supporting her and have elected to make this decision. To all our fans and any related parties, we deeply appreciate of all the great support you have provided throughout the activities that Uruha Rushia has engaged in over a period of 2 years and 7 months since her debut as part of the third generation of Hololive. We deeply apologize from the bottom of our hearts that we have ended up in a position to have to report this news to you. Also, we will be shutting down this talent's YouTube channel and membership as of around the end of March. Please understand that we are taking this matter very seriously. We intend to put further efforts into instructing talents that are affiliated with us on compliance matters so that similar incidents do not happen again in the future. We hope you will continue supporting and enjoying our company as well as the talents that are affiliated with us. Thank you very much. February 24th, 2022, Thursday, Cover Corporation. Now, you might wonder, what and how in the hell? So apparently in the 10 days period, Rushia was consulting with basically a JP commentary channel, Kore Kore. Now, if you've been in the internet for the past 5 years or so, hearing the word commentary and consulting alone, I would assume you would recoil a bit with a low bruh coming out from your mouth. But let me try to explain. Or that's what I would love to say. The thing is, this rabbit hole is just too damn hazy than I thought it would be. It is hard to confirm basically anything at this point. Let me tell you something. All of these videos that you've probably may or may not have watched actually are based on claims and rumors. Rushia was in a junior-senior relationship with Kore Kore and was asking him about Mafu Mafu's girl preference. It's a claim. Kore Kore is a JP Keemstar and is infamous for slandering, backstabbing, and even got sued by multiple people. It is a claim. Rushia was showing private chat logs and presumably showing things NDA related to him as well. It is also a claim. We're going to come back to that last point later on though. Now, to be honest with you, I am not a fan of this. I've tried to at least dig up for some written stuff about this in the JP side of the internet, but I got no dice. Most likely, if you type Kore Kore Mikaneko nowadays, you will be directed to YouTube videos that talks about the recent drama. You could say the well has been poisoned. So the least thing I tried to do was to look at the reaction of the videos. In other words, the comments. If only we can see the dislike ratio. YouTube. After scanning throughout a bunch of videos, I found none of them was talking in a very opinionated manner about either Mikaneko or Kore Kore. However, this is a contrast to the EN side of things, where some comments self-claim to be from Japan, voicing on how absolutely they hate the guts out of Kore Kore. I dug into one of these accounts, and yeah, this is seemingly a credible guy. Now, this is the same account who put out some claims about how Mikaneko and Kore Kore was in Kohai Senpai relationship, Mikaneko was contacting Kore Kore for advice regarding Mafu Mafu, and how Kore Kore was using that information, and I'll emphasize this, in malicious intent to gain something for himself. I mean, sure, this comment is kind of lined up with some Kore Kore statements not too long ago, with probably some different details here and there. But at the end of the day, these are still claims. These are still rumors. But some of those claims do have some crumbs here and there, alluding what may or may not be true. For example, Kore Kore is a JP Keemstar. If what this means is just him being a JP commentary channel, then yeah, it is possible to be convinced just by the look of his thumbnails and titles alone. But a Keemstar? I'm not so sure. This is also one of the problems with JP YouTubers, or even JP YouTube in general. They are not opinionated. In the West, we can easily access videos or informations about a drama because Western YouTubers are more open and opinionated. In JP, however, most of these things are mostly a discrete thing. I would say only people who are involved, or at least people who are related to them, who would know the entire story. Meanwhile, the audience would most likely just heard rumors and claims, and that's it. No way to verify, and no one even want to. The proof of this is when this whole thing was started in the first place. It was the JP fandom and some people in 4chan who blasted Twitter with the quote-unquote revelation. Also, from what I've seen so far in the video comments dating around the time of the start of the drama, the JP fandom was either accepting it or still wanting for a more concrete answer. If this happens in the Western side of drama debauchery, it would be the audience who would found some clues and even calling out the perpetrator. And by the audience, I also mean the commentary YouTubers. While in JP, there is no such thing, and eventually making things harder for people like us, the EN speaking audience, to find at least some sort of clue, like a real clue on which rumor is right and which rumor is wrong. Now you're probably asking, what kind of proof are you actually looking for? Any media that discussing about this matter that's coming from a credible source. That's my definition of proof. If only I could find any JP YouTuber that either shitting on Kore Kore or shitting on Mikaneko, then things would have been more clearer, since it's coming from presumably someone who's been keeping tabs on them for a long time. But alas, that seems to be not the case here. If only I could find an article of Mikaneko was trying to sue Kore Kore or any kinds of media that's related to it, then at least we can be more leaning to the claim that yes, Kore Kore is an asshole. But alas, it seems like no one has ever found it. So folks, this is, in my opinion, a very inconclusive topic. Now, I briefly said about a chat log earlier. For the people who haven't heard of this, Kore Kore did a live stream recently to basically prove his innocence. He even brought some translators with him. How cute. At one point of this live stream, he showed a picture of chat logs, presumably between him and Mikaneko. Now, from what the gist of it, that chat log was filled with some bad things, like how she was harassed by her seniors and her juniors, expressing her wanting to betray the agency, and saying that she wants to stop living. Also, in the live stream, Kore also mentioned that the agency was very strict with the image of the character, demanding not a single stain on the image of the character, which further stresses her out. Now, if Kore had just stopped at the chat log part, maybe I would say it is just a claim, guys, and we should wait for more information, or hell, maybe even a verdict right then and there. But the last point there really giddy up my willy. So based on what the last point says, it is implied that Hololive have made a template persona, and every member has to act within that persona. Now, if you've been around since 2019, then yes, this is correct at the start. But if that's still applicable to this day, then can you explain how this cute looking tsundere high school girl becoming a feet sniffer, spider eater, horror eldritch god? Or this one cute bubbly apple pie looking cheerleader becoming a loud, rude, throwing fit, eroe lolicon goddess?
I'm a god.
If I can use the term the kids using these days, it sounds sus. So yeah, the credibility of this guy is at question right now, at least for me. You might as well want to point out about the chat logs and the message being a quote-unquote condemned evidence, but come on, there's no date of time, there's no hint of it from being from Mikaneko herself. Like, we've witnessed this type of quote-unquote evidence in various places and dramas. Not saying it's a fake picture, but man, is it full of holes. Not to mention he had 10 days window, so again, it's pretty sussy-wussy. He is also a commentary channel after all, and also he was spewing some claims, with one of them being Okay, I'll stop. Hence why I'm gonna ask you to not hold those details as if it's the real deal. At least until Mikaneko herself, not some girly voice claiming to be Mikaneko herself, say something about the matter directly to us. So, I am once again asking for your intellectual support. Trust me, it is for a better in the long run. Now, typically I would just end the video right there, since I said it myself. This is an inconclusive topic. And maybe I would say something like, until the next big thing happened, this is gonna be the last video, or herder. But plot twist, it was never my intention to put the focus on the drama. I simply talking about this in depth because I do not want to be wrong and spreading out misinformation to people. Also, I want to give a little bit of context of what happened so I can expect myself and others to treat this topic in according to the facts, not some bias or, claims and rumors. In my opinion, how and what happened in the background of this case is not that really important anymore, because at the end of the day, we kind of get the big picture already. It's just the little details we don't know about. And for that, I can firmly say that I have no more interest to follow up on that matter. Of course, I will keep tabs on them for personal amusement. No, I'm not some psychopath who loves drama like, I like the smell of tea in the morning. No. I just found how someone handling fuck ups a somewhat a fascinating thing, is all. And as also as part of the plebeian gang from looking at dramas, I can be more critical of my surroundings. It is better for someone to ask you $1 million rather than for someone to steal $5 from you. That's what my grandpa used to say. So yeah.
すっごくあれだけど、うん、どんな言葉でもそうみんなの言葉は受け止めたいなと。それが事実じゃないことでも全然違うことでもそれでもみんなの言葉はしっかりと受け止めたいなって思ってます。でもたくさんね伝えたいこともあって、日本語ごめんなさい。本当にごめんなさい。本当にね、それは自覚あります。本当にごめんなさい。下手でこう本当にごめんなさい。言葉も下手だし、あと年齢も公開してないので憶測とかでねいろいろ言うのも控えていただきたいです。はい、様々な面での捏造などなど私の方でしっかりするので、みんなもねどうか控えてもらえたら控えてください。よろしくお願いします。で、今後の対応とかも結構話し合ってるので、言えるときにやっぱりみんなにお話ししようと思ってます。です。そう、これだけ、ごめんなさい。今日はやっぱり謝りたかったのと、やっぱり声が聞きたいって言ってくれてる方々もずっと いてくれたので、そこを行動したくて来ました。すごく怖かったけど、でも私もみんなに会いたかったから。そうです。全然コメント拾えなくてごめんね。いや、本当にごめん。で、言葉が出てこなくて、でもみんなと私はまた一緒にいたいと思ってます。まだ全然喋ることできないのに配信撮ってごめんね。ただやっぱり声聞きたいって言ってくれる人に聞かせたかったっていうのが本心だから。そうです。あとは画像や動画の 天才はしないでください。よろしくお願いします。これね、短い間だけどちょっと聞いてくれてありがとう。ありがとう。みんなもこう結構きつい意見とかこう優しい意見とかもね見てるのでいろいろとごめんなさい。こう嫌な思いをさせてごめんなさいっていう意味です。はい。なのでまたみんなに会いたいです。一旦今日はこのままね枠を閉じようかなと思うんですけど、拾える範囲内ぐらいで、ごめんなさい、ちょっと手が震えて手汗がすごくて、海外の方もありがとうございます。本当にしんどい中、今手助けとかもすごい助けられてて、録音じゃないよ。捏造はね、それも今はね全然言えないんだよね。ごめんね、本当にごめんなさいだよね。ごめんなさい、申し訳ないです、本当に。そうです。どうだろう。まあ本当にね、そう急な出来事だったから私も動揺してしまってるところはたくさんあって、そうだね。ありがとうございます。いろんな意見ありがとうございます。はい、ありがとう。じゃあ一旦今日みんないろいろとごめんなさい、本当に。またいろいろとお話ができたりとか、そういう時が来たらお話をさせてくださいね。ありがとう。聞いてくれてこんな遅くに。じゃあ一旦枠を閉じます。ありがとう。聞いてくれてありがとうございました。会いに来てくれてありがとう。ごめんなさい。切ります。